All right, everybody stand up. This isn't going to be a sit down, relax, learn some information. If you can't stand up, that's okay. Do it the best you can. Okay, but first thing, stand up. Everybody start jogging. Come on, jog in place. Get moving. If you can't jog in place, punch your hands. Get your arms moving. That's not jogging in place. Come on. Get it moving. Get your energy up. Come on. Get your arms punching. Don't punch anybody in front of you. Don't punch anybody in front of you. Turn around. Punch the person beside you. Come on. Turn around. Face the back. Punch them. Give them a punch. All right. Now look at each other. Pick one person to look at. Tell them you're amazing.
You're amazing.
All right. Tell the next person you're amazing.
You're amazing.
All right. Now, what the biggest you can possibly do, is smile at them and tell them they're a champion. Don't forget to smile. Okay. Now look at me. Start doing this. Start doing this. Harder. Say, I'm a champion. 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 Who's a champion? I'm a champion. All right, let's have a seat. Okay. So I did that for one reason. This isn't going to be some sort of jump up and down all day long. That's fun. But the reason I did that is because what does that feel like?
Good.
What does that feel like?
Energetic.
Energy's moving right now, right? Can you make things happen if we're sitting and not moving?
No.
No, so we got to get in a certain state before we can even think about what we want to accomplish, right? That's why I play videos. That's why every day when I drive to the office, I'm watching something similar to that over and over and over every single day, because to be in state is how you get in focus, because it's all up in here, right? We're transformed how? We're transformed by the renewing of our mind. It all comes back to our head. What's in our head? What are we focused on? So that's what we're going to talk about more than anything today. But I want you to guys see, before we start setting goals, hopefully you've come here with some ideas about what you want to accomplish this year. If you're an achiever, overachiever, maybe you've already set yourself up. You've already made your action steps, and we're just going to add to that. Maybe you're someone sitting here right now that this is like, I don't even know what a goal is. I would like to be happy. I would like to lose weight. I would like these things, but I don't know how to get there. I've tried so many times that I'm tired and it just doesn't seem like a reality, right? That's some of us right now. I know personally, I've done so many things that I failed at, and that I got to a point at one point in my life where it was like, why set goals? And I have a strong feeling there's plenty of you in this room that have been there too, or might even be there right now. Okay, so what I want to do before we start diving into what do you want, you know, what are the goals you want to accomplish, all these things, is the why behind it. But also, the why behind it, what we need in life. Because a new car, what he talked about there, it had nothing to do with money. The reason I showed that had nothing to do with being a successful CEO. Who cares, right? Honestly, who cares? That's cool. It went from him being one place to him being another place by his mindset and what he decided he was going to do. Whether you're in ministry, whether you're whether you're not even moving in a career anymore, maybe it's just you want to be amazing for your family and live a long, healthy life. Maybe you're trying to lose weight. Whatever that is for you, it still takes from where you are right now getting to where you want to be, right? And that was a good example of that. So why do we want to set goals? And it goes back to what our actual needs are. And I think these are really valuable, to look at our values and look at our needs. And your 6 human needs, I'm going to go through these. Everybody really expresses 2. Or in other words, those are the 2 things that they drive for. Okay? So you can understand this. For me, it's uncertainty and variety. I like to be uncertain. I like variety. I like things that are new. But it's also contribution. Those are the 2 things that when I pick a goal, they have to have something I have to find a way to make them line up with this, or I just don't care. Does that make sense? Right? When it comes to losing weight, some of you guys are going to be like, I don't really care, because you haven't figured out why and how it affects you, what's particular to you. Okay? So for me, the reason I like contribution, the reason I do what I do, and I got into chiropractic, in chiropractic, the reason I did this seminar tonight for free, the reason I'm going to do a 40-day challenge with you guys for free and literally do 40 different audios for 5 minutes at a time, the reason we're going to do seminars for the next months is because this is what excites me and this is what I'm passionate about. Not everybody's passionate about that. We all have all these needs, but there's 2 in there that really affect you the most, that really drive you the most. Okay? So as you're looking at this, figure out which 2 do you feel like drive you the most. The certainty, I'm going to be going through these, but as I'm going through each individual one, I want you to figure out which one is yours. Okay? And maybe you end up with 3 and you just got to kind of need help with it later. Certainty, what that looks like is somebody that needs certainty is either going to do one of 2 things. They're going to have to be in control. That's your control freak. Or they have to give it up to something else. They're either going to be they have to be in control, or they're going to give it up to faith. Right? And that's what we all have. We all have this want for certainty in some way, shape, or form. Some people are driven by certainty, though. Y'all follow me there? They're driven by that. So being in control or give it up to faith. Those are your two choices. If you're somebody that's controlled by certainty or driven by certainty, then you're going to be a control freak if you don't give it up to faith. You have to believe that there's things out there you can't control, and you have to let others deal with it, God deal with it, and give it to faith. You have to also be able to believe in and visualize daily the pleasure, meaning be okay with the pain. Okay? It's uncertain if you go exercise sometimes that you're going to get better. If you're in pain right now, is it ever going to get better? You know? And so we tend to quit because we don't think we're going to ever get better. But having certainty to know that on the other side of pain, almost every single time is what? Now, I'm not talking about a broken leg, but a certain amount of pain has to happen for growth. A certain amount of stress has to happen for growth. This is the part where I always talk about, look at what you can control and influence. So think about that for a moment. What in your life can you control and influence? And then get away from the stuff you can't control and influence. Because there's nothing you can do about it. That's where you have your faith. Okay? So enjoy the pain because of the pleasure it will always give you. And avoiding pain, what does avoiding pain mean? People that avoid pain all the time, what happens? They always go backwards. They never stay the same. We never just sit. What we think is if we're comfortable, we're going to be okay. But if we're always comfortable and never growing, and I'm not just talking about pain, I'm talking about stressors, I'm talking about getting out and trying to grow, trying new things, whether it's trying to lose weight, whether it's trying to exercise, whether it's just getting out and having a new experience. If we try to stay in our comfort zone, guess what happens to our comfort zone? It shrinks and we get weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. You can't just hang in your comfort zone because you're either growing or you're shrinking. Have you ever heard that before? You're either moving towards health or you're moving away from it, but that's with everything. These are all just principles that can be, the reason I'm not talking about just weight loss is because you can use this for all of it. Okay? So that's a certainty driver. Uncertainty is someone that wants it fun and exciting all the time. So if I was to set a goal and do the same thing every single day without trying to find different ways to do it, I'm going to get bored out of my mind. Okay, some of you are like that too, and you have to know that uncertainty drives you. So when you pick your goal, okay, it might be something you want. Like, so if you need to lose weight, that's a health thing that just has to happen, right? It doesn't matter if it's like, oh, that's not exciting to me. I'm not really passionate about that. I don't like to exercise. I don't like to eat good. It needs to happen. So we have to find a way to make it, get passionate about it. So you're going to have to find a way when it comes to exercise and eating good to make it fun. Make it certain. You're not going to be that meticulous person that knows exactly what they're going to eat every single day. You're that person that has to keep it some sort of exciting. I can't create a eating plan for myself that is exactly the same. I can't look Sunday and know everything I'm going to eat for the week. I tell people to do that because that's the easiest way to do it, but I've done that and it's miserable. I don't like it. So what I do is I know what food is good and what food's not good, and I fill my fridge each Sunday with different stuff, and I know that's good and what's not good, and I just follow that. Sometimes in the beginning we need that certainty, but for you people that are driven by uncertainty, it's going to be a little bit different. You need multiple routes to get there. You need the end results, but the end result needs to be constant. Okay? This is the problem with people that are uncertain and always want change, is they always are flirting with things. They're always kind of dabbling. Right? They'll try something, like, that's not funny, well, I'm going to try something else. Does that make sense? Okay? So instead of doing that, you still need the end result to be the same. You just have to have a different strategy of getting there. So that's an uncertainty driver. Significance. This is the person that needs significance. We all need significance. But some people are driven by significance. Many actors, actresses, those are going to be your significance people. And so you got to look at that and say, am I driven by this? And this is one thing I wanted to share with you guys. For some people have this wondering are they significant or not? Right? And I love this right here is, what does God say about our significance? And I just want to, start off right off the bat here, is whatever your belief system is, right, is this still stands strong, right? It's still, because if there's nothing out there that started us, then there's no purpose, right? So we have a purpose no matter how you look at it. And so first is we were created, or He cares about every detail in our life. Okay, He created us. with detail. He planned your days before you were born. Have you heard these things before? Okay, these aren't new. Nothing I'm telling you is new, by the way. They're just solid principles. He planned your days before you were born. He made you to last forever. So, did you hear that last part? So this is just preparation. Just FYI. So he made you to last forever. He cares about every detail, hair on your head, right? Every hair. Y'all like that one where you say, well, my hair's getting lost, so it's getting easier for him? Right? But every detail in your life, he planned your days before you were born. He made you to last forever. So if I was you, if you're someone that significance is important, that's where we need to find our significance. However, things are going to drive you with significance. So if you're someone that's trying to lose weight, maybe significance is how you're going to get there. You'll follow me there? Maybe that's what you need. Or if you're someone, before I get on to connection level, I wanted to hit this. I threw this in the middle. Also understanding your purpose. Because what's the point of a goal if we have no purpose? Isn't that true? So what is your purpose in life? And this is what the Bible says about our purpose, and that's the only place I can really go. I can think of what I think my purpose is, but I want to know what God says my purpose is. And he says my purpose is, number one, is to focus on him, to love him. That's number one. That's a pretty good purpose, right? Every morning I can wake up and focus on that. Connect with others. Love others. We're put here to love God. We're put here to love others. So as you're making your goals, they need to line up with these things. 3 is cultivate spiritual maturity. So you always want to be growing closer and growing more. And the way you can find if you're growing spiritually, or if you're growing at all, is are people following you, and are people starting to want to be like you? You know what I'm saying there? Is are you just being a drain, or are you being a faucet? You always have to have a downline and an upline. Okay, your upline, it feeds into you. You always have to have people below you. If you don't have people below you, then you're missing this major purpose in your life. Contribution, contributing something back to society, so service. We're called to serve, and then finally is to witness and tell others, which is save. Isn't that cool? Guess where I got that? I didn't think that up. That's Purpose-Driven Life. Read it. It's a great book. Okay, one of the top-selling books in the world. To all levels. Secular, everything. That was one of the top-selling books in the world because these are principles that all corporations, huge corporations follow because they're sound. That's what your purpose is. Your goal needs to correlate with that some way, shape, or form. Okay, so the next one is somebody that needs connection and love. Notice I got soft, connection and love. Everybody needs connection and love. And we're supposed to find our connection ultimately in the source, but at the same time, that's why we get married. That's why we have friends. That's why we have significant others. Things like that is because we need that connection, that love, and that's what we strive for. So if you're someone that's trying to lose weight and you're a connection love person, then you need to find some way to correlate that. If you have kids, love, right? If you have kids and you need to lose weight, losing weight or being overweight, what does that look like for heart disease, cancer, diabetes, all these other things? It's huge. So if you have kids, there's your why right there. If you're a connector and you're a love, then you need to hold strong to that and say, either it's my spouse, either it's my child, maybe it's whatever it is, or maybe it's even being an example, not just to be there for them, but to be the example for them, right? Because they're watching, seeing what you're doing, and so saying, if that's you, you need to find that area and say, okay, that's my big why. Your big why has to have connection and love if that's you, if you're a connector and a lover. Growth. Some of us just want to grow. Those are those D personalities. There's driven. It's all about getting better in life, right? If that's you, then whatever your goal is needs to be wired to that. If it's for weight loss, then you're going to want to set these really high goals that you're striving for all the time because you're someone that needs growth. And the final one, which is my favorite one, is contribution. And that's something, we need all these. But contribution is huge because we have two really spiritual gifts, or two spiritual needs, and their main ones are growth and contribution. We need to constantly growing and constantly contributing. And so that means giving back. And so two big things here. If you're someone that's a contributor, you want to focus on your big who and your big why. Because your who, if you're contributing, if you're doing something just for yourself, there's always going to be some sort of a service to others in that. Right? If the bumblebee, Tony Robbins says this, if the bumblebee goes to the flower, there's still going to be nectar that gets on his legs that gets released out and more flowers bloom, right? Isn't that cool? So it's all about him. He's just trying to survive and do his thing, but more flowers form. So you're still going to have some sort of an influence there. But now the next step, if you're trying to do something for someone else, like your family, if you're creating this whole concept for your family or service to your family, then you're going to have a bigger impact. Now, but think about this. What if you're trying to serve a community? Or what if you're like Mother Teresa is trying to serve a world? Right? Look at the influence, the difference. So the bigger your who, the bigger your influence. And that's something I'm constantly on myself, is how big is my who. When I talked about I listen to things or watch videos before I come to the office or every single day, I've listened probably about 30 times to Tony Robbins' Service. If you want to look this up, it's a powerful video. It's 5 minutes long. And he just goes through why, what a leader is, and it's all about service. He just goes through it. And I listen to that over and over and over again to ingrain this. And one of the things he says is the bigger your group that you're going after, the bigger your influence is going to be, because you're always going to see bigger. And then next is, why do you want to do that for them? And the bigger that why is, right, change humanity, the quicker it's going to happen. Right? Because a lot of people say, you don't want to be a doctor because I want to help people. That's the number one Success 101 thing, is anything. I want to volunteer. Why do you want to volunteer? Because I want to help people, right? Everyone says that, and everyone means that. But why? Why do you want to help people? If you want to help people, you can, go walk through a door and give them $1, or you can, you can go say hi to them. That's helping them. But why do you want to do this? So I went into chiropractic because I wanted to help people understand a principle that they had no idea about. That's my big why, because of what it did in my life. Okay, so when you're doing this is huge. These are the people that like Mother Teresa, cool stuff, because then it's 100% not about them. They just want to go change lives, right? If that's you, then you got to figure out why. And once you figure out your why, it'll burn inside. It'll be so passionate inside of you that you'll just constantly be after it. And when you fail, who cares? Next. It's always going to be like that. Okay? So, you mean review those? You got the 6? What are the 6? Certainty. Uncertainty. What's next? Significance. Love connection. Growth, and then contribution. Okay, so write down your 2. What are the 2 that really drive you the most? This is a lot about understanding yourself, because why create goals if we don't even know who we are? And as you're doing that, I'm going to continue on with the concept of mastery. We want to be masters in what we do. We don't want to be dabblers. Being a dabbler gets very frustrating. When you're a dabbler, you quit very easily because you've failed so many times without ever succeeding. That it's just kind of like, why try? What's the point? I've done so many things, I've never gotten there. I've never been a master in anything. And what happens is we continue to back off. But once you master something, so I'm going to teach you guys in the rest of the time we have here, is how to master the one thing in 90 days. We're focusing on one thing in 90 days that you're going to master in your life. And what that's going to feel like daily, you're going to have 3 steps that you're going to do that daily you're going to feel accomplished at. Not 20 things you got to do every single day, because no one can do that. We're going to pick 1 to 3 things every single day you can accomplish. So every day your confidence in that goes higher and higher and higher. And then when you become a master at that, what's that going to feel like? It's going to feel amazing. Are there other things you're not a master at in your life? Yes, but now you have the confidence to go be the master in that. That's why someone who can, let's just take money for example, can make millions of dollars and then not get the lottery, but actually earn, do the hard work and grind to do whatever they got to do there, and then lose it and go and get it right back. Because they became the person. The thing I love about that video that we just watched is the person you become in the process. That's what you want to be. The fruit is in your action steps. Okay, so do this. What's the one area in your life you want to master? And I put career and personal. For me, there's a certain thing we want to make happen here and just overall in the next 90 days. And then there's a personal one as well. My personal one is I'm actually following a certain financial plan, just getting married and everything. We want to get all that in line the way it's supposed to be. So our goal is to master that with our planning and everything else in the next 90 days. Yours might be weight loss. It might be get healthy. It might be just what I said. It might be finances, whatever that is. But pick your career and personal. What's the area of that part of your life you want to master? If it's it might be family, and maybe you don't spend enough time with your family. Maybe it's your spouse. Maybe your relationship's not as good as you want it to be. Whatever that is there. Maybe you want a spouse, right? You don't have one and you want one. Then you're going to find out what you want in a spouse and become that person that your spouse wants that you don't even know. And then repetition is key. So what does mastery look like? Now this part's important. So many times we do all these seminars and classes, and I'll say, okay, we're having a nutrition class coming up. And if somebody's been there twice, what do they tell me? They've already what? They've already been there. They say, I've already been there. Level 1, cognitive mastery. That means you heard it, you got it in your brain a little bit. Reality is you really don't have that much in your brain. You just got enough. You know, when we sit through something like this, you never get it all, right? Has anybody sat through a seminar and you're like, this is going to be amazing. 2 days later, what happened? I don't remember any of it. I remember one point. And that's fine. That's all of us. That's why we pick one thing place to master. Cognitive mastery is the first step. You have it in your intellect, but knowing it's not enough. The second is level 2, which is emotional, meaning you actually have to feel it and ingrain it and make it a part of you and who you are. Meaning you start to put emotion to it, you start to have stories about it, you start to talk to people. When you're moving into this mode, people are starting to follow you because you're teaching them. You can't help it. You just want to tell everybody. You ever been there with something where it's just like, this is so cool, I got to tell everybody I know. And then what happens because of that, then you start to, because of the repetition over and over and over and over, and then again and over, you become the physical master, which is embodied, which is now it's just who you are. It's a habit. It's a part of your life. Now, here's the important part to understand about this. If we aren't setting our goals and we aren't trying to master areas of our life, what's going to happen? Who's going to do it for us? Our environment. Something. We're going to be mastering something. It might not be what you want to master, though. All our bad habits, we mastered those. Right? Somebody's talking about being with a tennis coach the other day, and I was actually at church. Pastor Steve was talking about his coach made him hold the racket a certain way, right? And he was like, why do I have to hold the racket a certain way? Because you're going to learn how to, every time, and you're either going to learn a good habit or you're going to learn a bad habit. Either way, you're going to master that habit. You follow me there? Okay, so creating goals has to happen because you're going to accomplish something. It might not be what you want to accomplish. So I love this concept of be the chess player, not the piece. Don't let somebody else control you. Have certainty by knowing you're the one in control. Or at least you're the one at least moving you in the right direction, right? And we have faith in the rest. So this is where that 30, 60, 90 degree, that's where that SMART goal comes from. Has anybody heard of SMART goals? Yeah, I didn't make this one up either. It's just a good concept. So SMART goal stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. Meaning you don't just say, someday I want to do this. No, we're going to put in 30, 90, 60, 90 days, this is what's going to happen. So it has to be specific. You can't say, my goal is to lose some weight. Okay, you lost a pound. Made your goal. Right? You get the point? So it has to be specific. And it has to be measurable too. Again, some weight. What is that? So there's no measure to that. And then attainable. Okay, if I weigh 175 and I want to lose 100 pounds, maybe attainable, but it's not very smart. Probably not attainable, right? Relevant. Meaning, is that really, what does that mean to you? What's the point? What's the point of that? You know, I want a Lamborghini. I don't care. Right? That doesn't mean anything to me, so I wouldn't really get that excited about it. But some people, that would be a driving force, you know, that they would just go all out for and get it. But to me, it doesn't matter. So, and then time. What is exact time that you're going to make this happen in? And we're going to pick, I'm picking it for you, it's 90 days, but we're going to have benchmarks. 30, 60, 90-day benchmarks. Okay? So hopefully before you came, you picked at least something close to what you want. If it's lose weight, then pick the number. And think about 90 days. That's 3 months. What can you do in 90 days? What's reasonable? 10 pounds a month is a good number. Okay? Over that can happen. But let's just, 10 pounds a month is a good, healthy number. Okay? People that go through these crazy weight loss programs that are losing 30, 40 pounds in a month, I mean, that's insane. And guess what happens to them? I've seen it over and over again. I have one patient, and Dr. Holly has another patient, who went through things like, and these aren't horrible products, I'm not saying anything bad about the product, but it's the concept of quick loss. Isogenics, all these different like fasting things and stuff like that, and they're good to get you started if you're learning the principles behind it so that you stick with it. But these people weren't sticking with it, and so what happened was they lost hundreds of, like 100-something pounds. This guy lost 100-something pounds, became a spokesperson for Isogenics. They paid him, had to sign a contract that said if you gain the weight back, can't tell anybody within a year. And you can't, went to her office, he'd already gained the weight back, went to her office, started losing the weight again, but couldn't ever say anything about her office because he had signed a contract that said, I won't. This is what we're seeing on, you see it on TV and you hear, oh, they lost all this weight, but where are they now? Right? And so that's what you got to realize is it doesn't come quick. Okay, action plan. Without a plan in action, it's just a pipe dream. So first is 3 things daily. So you have this sheet here and it says 3 things daily. What are your 3 daily action steps that you're going to do? And it's going to change daily. But I want you to put down some ideas right now. Put down some things you can do. The day doesn't end until these happen. If you're tired, 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, and you still have to read a chapter of a book that you said you're going to read to help you reach your goal, then read the chapter of the book. Because what's it going to feel like when you did? Because every time we don't do these 3 things, I put 1 to 3. Know yourself. You know, if this is new to you and you haven't done anything moving towards a goal, or you haven't really done anything motivating in a long time, and you know you are, then do 1. Do 1 thing daily. But if you're someone like, hey, I want to get even better, do 3. If you're really on top of that, I'm going to do 5. But I wouldn't go above that, because then you're going to get disappointed. Because life, you still got other things to do, right? It'd be cool if all we had to do is focus on our 1 thing. So it doesn't end. The next step is pick them on Sunday. Look through your week. Don't wait till the day. On Sunday, look at Monday, look at Tuesday, look at Wednesday, look at Thursday, look at Friday, look at Saturday, and look at Sunday. Sunday's not do nothing day. It's still a day where you want to at least reevaluate. You could put, I'm going to reevaluate on Sunday. I'm going to evaluate my week on Sunday. That's an action step. Okay, so look at that. And Monday, I'm going to do these 3 things. Tuesday, I'm going to do these 3 things. Make them attainable. Don't try to run. If you're trying to train for a marathon, and you never run, don't put 10 miles. Is 1 action step. Okay, be attainable. Remember, smart. Okay, and then put them in your war plans. Anybody know what a war plan is? Right? If everything we're trying to do is in a way can be a battle, we call it the war plan. If you're trying to accomplish something, what we're trying to accomplish with this office with Maximized Living, in many ways is a battle against pharmaceutical companies and everything else. So we call it a war plan. Monday, this is everything I do. My SMART goals, this shift, specific times with my wife, those are solid yellow lines. Does anybody know what a solid yellow line is? That means you can't go outside. If you're driving and you have your solid yellow lines you can't cross, that's your solid yellow line. You put that in place and you can't go outside of it. So you put this, if you want this to be accomplished, it has to go in solid yellow lines. Otherwise, what will you do? You'll skip over it. I don't have time for that right now. I still got to give the kids a bath. I still got to do these things and this and all these other things. So it has to happen there. And I'm going to teach you after this how to be successful with this. But right now, just your action steps and then daily reevaluations. So every day, at the end of the day, it take you 10, 15 minutes max. Just look at your day, look at your 3 things. How did you do at them? Did you do them, and how did you do at them? Okay, because they might be actions, they may be times that you're trying to get. If you're trying to increase your running time, it might be workout time. You made it 20 minutes, you wanted to make it 30. Whatever it is. And then finally is your weekly stats, meaning at the end of the week, you look back. Okay? If you've ever ran a business or any kind of organization, if you don't keep stats, you don't know where you are. So you want to keep your stats. So I had 3 times 7, 21 things I needed to do this week to move towards my goal. I did how many? Right? Keep yourself rated. Rate yourself on it. Okay, so that's your action plan. Is everybody good with that? Everybody understand that concept there? Pretty simple. You think I can do that? 1, 2, or 3 action steps a day? Good. Now here's your pillars of success. Yeah, it looks just like one of our patients. Okay, here's your pillars of success. Get focused and clear. Okay, and get focused and clear is so huge. The number 1 cause, I would say, of not reaching what we're trying to accomplish is we get distracted. There's so much going on, especially now with Facebook and social media and emails and TV and all these other things. There's so many things going on that's easy to quickly get distracted. So you have to, 1 is understand focus and clarity, and I'm going to go through these individually. Get the tools for success that you need. Find the mentors, find the books, find the audios, find the stuff that's going to keep you motivated, but also find the person that's the best that you can actually have contact with. Right? If I want to lose weight, I'm not going to go to someone that's been struggling trying to lose weight and hasn't lost weight in 20 years. I'm going to go to somebody that's done it and is continuing with it that can help me in that process. Right? I'm not going to go get a friend to help me with this that whenever I call them and say, I just don't feel like it today. When it comes to exercise, and they're like, yeah, me neither. And then we throw a pity party together, and then that's it. That doesn't get you anywhere. I don't pick that friend, right? They're still a friend. They're just not going to do this challenge. They're not going to do this with me, okay? Plan for inner conflicts, speed bumps, and roadblocks, and then we're going to go through these. Set up guardrails and filtration. Okay, and I'm going to help you understand that. Number 1 is focus and clarity. Don't walk in the snow with your eyes closed. Has anybody done that? Close your eyes and okay, I'm going to make it to this tree, and I close my eyes and I just start walking. And then eventually I open my eyes and I turn around, and what do I see? A trail that's like this, right? Maybe I'll get to that tree, but it's going to be a really long time before I get there, or I might end up in the middle of nowhere. I'm going to focus but if I stare at that tree and focus right on it, it's going to be a dead straight line right to that tree. Does that make sense? Now I know that's easy. That's in the woods. There's no distractions. You got the straight line to the tree. It's the concept. But know the goal exactly you're working to accomplish. We just did that. You should know the one area of your life. Now, in a couple of weeks, guess what's going to happen? Well, I want to change this area too. Wait. You got the rest of your life. Wait. You've decided tonight, or at least in the next week, that this is what you're going to focus on for 90 days. Be consistent. Be disciplined. That's the one thing that's going to change. It's one thing at a time. You can't change everything in your life at once. Now, the next one, which is my favorite part, which is the part that's going to help you more than anything, I believe, is your mental toughness routine. The mental toughness routine is the most powerful thing you can do every single day. And what that looks like is getting in state. Does anybody know what getting in state means? That doesn't mean go to South Carolina or stay in North Carolina. Getting in state is where are you at? What's your state like right now? What's your state like right now? When I had you pounding on your chest, what state were you in? Were you worried about everything else that was happening in your life? Or were you in this mode of, I don't know what's going on, but I'm excited, right? Get in state. The reason I listen to audios and videos and read books and do all those other things, yes, I want to be smarter and all this other, but more than anything, it's to constantly be in a state. And if something's not working anymore, I don't do it anymore. I find something else. One of my favorite things is every single morning you want to be, remember, growth. So every morning I'm in the Bible and I'm reading this and building a certain focus for what I want to accomplish and looking at my purposes. Those purposes and those significance things are written that I read every day. You can't just see that once. Because if I asked you what's significance in your purpose, a week from now, what would you say? What would you say right now? I don't know. Because you got to see it every single day. We're creatures of repetition. You create habits and you create mindsets by what you see every day. If you watch TV every day, what do you see every day? What do you become? Look at our society. We watch this stuff every day, and that's what we're becoming, people on TV. Okay, so get in state. State is based on physiology, belief, focus, and language, and we're going to go through those as well. Incantations for your goals in life. Before we go over get in state, on your sheet you have it in that order, but I want you to skip down to 2 and 3. We're going to focus on these first. Incantations for your goals in life. Here's an example. You're always saying something to yourself. Right? Who's your biggest enemy? You are. Who's your biggest fan? You're either one or the other. You're your biggest enemy or your biggest fan. You get to choose. No one else chooses for you. So you get to decide what goes on in your head. You get to decide what you do every day. So part of your mental toughness routine is number 2, which is incantations for your goals. Everybody knows what affirmations are, right? What's an affirmation? We just did them earlier. I'm awesome, right? Not me. That's what we said. I only do that in front of the mirror. No, just kidding. I don't really do that. Okay, but affirmations are fine, but if I stare at a flower and say, the flower's going to grow, the flower, positive thinking just over and over and over again, is that flower going to grow? I mean, eventually, but it's not, the weeds aren't going away, right? So here's an example of one. Now, it's not just saying it. It's not just saying, I love exercising, eating healthy, and feeling amazing. Thank you, God, for allowing me to feel and look as amazing as I do and be as healthy as I am. That's exciting. I mean, it has to be all out. Like, I love to exercise. I love eating healthy. I love how it makes me feel. I'm so energized. I'm so excited. Look at me. And you just get down. You get excited about it. And guess what that does? How weird is that? Dude, I don't do this in front of you. I never do this. I'm embarrassed right now. But I am. But I had to show you what that looks like, because when you're at home doing it, it's okay. No one's making fun of you. Maybe the neighbors if you live in an apartment complex. But who cares? Because, yeah, who cares? So just get down and get crazy about it and build the energy, because what I say, it has to be, to master something and to believe it has to be emotional. You can't say, I love my life. No, I mean, if you love your life, prove to yourself. Prove it to yourself. If I said to you, I love my life, would you be like, oh, okay, cool. But if I just on the mountaintop screamed at the top of my lungs, then you'd be like, wow, he really loves his life, right? And so whether I feel like that at the moment or not, do it anyways. That has to happen every single morning. It's not an option. That has to happen every morning. If you're not doing that, something else is coming in. You have 2 options. You can let all your negative thoughts, because everybody has them, because the world gives them to us, in, or you can do this. Those are your 2 options. You get to pick one tonight. Visualize your success. Be clear and exact. You have on here, this shouldn't take long. This doesn't mean you spend an hour yelling at yourself. You'll probably pass out. Daily incantations, 30 seconds. Now you can do it multiple times throughout the day if you want, if you want to get yourself going all the time. And then daily 30-second commercial. What do you want your commercial to look like? Think about this. Okay, I love this. The commercial is the best. This is where you close your eyes, you get into a certain stature, and you visualize what you want your life to be exactly like. You feel it, you go through the motions. So imagine yourself, everybody close your eyes. We're going to do this. This one's simple. Imagine yourself, you're on the tallest mountaintop in the world. You can see the entire world around you. Do y'all feel what that feels like there? Now stretch your arms out. Don't hit the person next to you. You can even do it in your mind. Just whatever. Stretch your arms out right there. Look around. Take a deep breath in. Okay, and open your eyes. Do you guys feel what that just? If you get, sometimes it takes practice. Some of us can't get out of our own head to get there. It takes practice. It's repetition. But that's what that means. Is if I want to go skiing on a mountaintop, I'm going to visualize myself taking the lift, going there. If my day tomorrow has a bunch of meetings in it, and there's certain things I want to happen in those meetings, maybe I'm meeting with a pastor and I want to go share health to their church. Now I'm going to visualize my meeting with that pastor in 30 seconds and the one thing that I want to happen there before I walk in there. I'm going to visualize our conversation and what's happening there. So it's already happened. It's kind of like if you're going to go do a movie, create a movie, if you're an actor or an actress, or you want to be, and you're going to make a movie, do you just walk in and start shooting the movie? You practice. Do you just go? You might. It's not improv. But yes, or do you go into sports? Do you just go show up for the game, or do you never practice and never play a day in your life? You shouldn't. You're not going to do as best results. Okay. Same thing is you want to visualize your life as you want it, right? And it's really like I wake up in the morning, I grab a cup of coffee, I grab some tea, I sit at the couch. If you're a guy, hopefully, my wife, my spouse, whatever that is, my spouse comes next to me. She tells me how much she loves me. What do you want your marriage to look like? Visualize that whole thing happening every single day, and guess what will happen? You know why it'll happen? It's not some new agey thing either. You know why it'll happen? Is because it's what you expect now instead of the opposite is what we usually expect, the negative part. So it's really cool because again, we're transformed by our mind. But if we can't even visualize what we want to accomplish, if I can't even visualize myself, let's say I want to build a bunch of muscle, but I can't even visualize myself there, good luck. Or if you want to lose a lot of weight, but you can't even imagine that ever happening, and you don't let yourself imagine it, we're telling ourselves I'm just this way because, then it won't get there. Okay, now let's go into this mental toughness state. This one's huge. State comes from physiology, belief, focus, and language. Physiology, biochemistry, movement, and structure. Okay, so this is everything you're doing in our office right now. Biochemistry, it's affecting your biochemistry. It's affecting your movement. It's affecting your structure. That's part of your state. Your physiology is a part of your state. Can you be in a state like this and excited if you're like, pretty hard. You can be, but it's pretty hard. And I would actually say you can't be. I'm just trying to amuse you. Okay, now your biochemistry. Whether you do this now or maybe you've done this in the past, if you go out and party and drink all night long and you wake up, what's your biochemistry going to be like? It's going to be all out of whack. You're not going to be miserable, blah, 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 whatever. So you have to say, okay, biochemistry is affected by certain things. Toxins affect your biochemistry. Nutrition. If you get up and have a piece of cake, good luck getting in state afterwards. We actually do this training before we become doctors in Maximize Living that they make us go to Panera Bread and they fill us full of, they say, eat whatever you want. And then we start to train, meaning like, how do we run an office? How do we do all this other stuff? And everybody's just sitting there like, what? I don't know what's going on. You have done that before? It's the coma. So it's your state. What you eat affects your state 100% of the time. Go eat junk all the time and prove to me. Right? Maybe when you're younger you can do it, but now you can't. When we get older, it affects our state. Toxicities, which is similar to that. Nervous system function. If you're neurotoxic all the time, smiling, inspiration, those also affect your biochemistry. Everybody smile as big as you can. Your biochemistry is changing right now. Yeah, believe it or not, your biochemistry is changing. I don't care how stressed you are, you're smiling, you're releasing endorphins. Laugh. You just recently, right? More endorphins are being released. Your biochemistry is changing. So how can, one way you can start to change your state? Eat better, exercise, move, or we're about to hit that one, I'm sorry. That affects your biochemistry too though. Eat better, smile, watch an inspirational video, you should have a library of stuff that gets you excited. Everybody's going to be different. Some people can watch that first video and be like, that was dumb. Right? But that's what inspired me, so that's all I knew how to go with. But everybody's going to be a little bit different. You have to figure out what's your library and what are you going to go to daily, sometimes twice daily, to get inspired, because you're either going to be inspired or you're going to be knocked down. Number 2 is movement, exercise. You got to do something. If you don't have time to go do max T3, which is 12 minutes a day, I mean, that's hard, right? 12 minutes, that's pretty hard. If you don't have time for that, you only have a minute, do some push-ups really fast. Sprint, run and play. The reason I had you start out like that is I want you to feel yourself getting in a different state. Okay? Exercise, structure. Again, not here, here. If you want to be powerful, you have to act powerful. This isn't powerful, right? If you want to reach a certain thing in your life, you have to know you can. And the one thing I can promise you is everybody in this room can reach whatever they're trying to accomplish right now. You know why I know that? Because very few people reach above and beyond on their goals. You know what I mean? Like there's some things that you're like, wow, that God's going to have to take care of that one because we can't accomplish that on our own. Most people stick down here, right? So I would even encourage you when you go home this week, be like, am I just like kind of, because I haven't hit it in the past, I'm just nervous about not hitting it again, which is fine. At least hit it now. That's fine. But posture, deep breaths, power stances. You saw me doing this stuff, flexing. I have a lot of muscles and I'm not big and huge, but I'm going to do it anyways because it makes me feel that way, right? It gets testosterone going, it gets hormones going. Okay, physiology is a fun one. That's something anybody can change at any time, just by you doing things. If you have all kinds of biochemistry issues because of health issues, then do these 2 things and they'll start to affect your biochemistry and you will feel better from it. You might not feel 100% perfect, but you'll feel better. That's why exercise beats depression every single time in every single study that's ever been done with it. Or antidepressants, every single time. Every study that's ever been done. Belief focus is the next one. Your values and your needs. We talked about the needs. Those can also be considered your values. What do you value? And then other things like time, honesty, principles. Right, for me, honesty and principles and scripture and things like that are things I value. So I'm going to have that in my morning time. Okay, looking at things like if it's love and connection, you need to find that in your morning time. Rules, what are your rules for your life? Things that you've made okay for yourself. I like this one. It's okay to bathe I put once a day. That's not even funny. I mean, it's okay to bathe once a week. Get it? Right? But some people would actually say, it's not bad. Who cares? It's not a big deal. That's what I do all the time. Does that make sense? We make rules for ourselves. You don't notice that? It's okay. I don't ever exercise. What's the big deal? It's okay. I don't ever move. I don't ever do this. And so we've made these rules for ourselves, but then we also create an identity for ourselves. And this one's the hardest part to get over. It can be the hardest part until you create a new identity and repeat it to yourself over and over. So what do you see yourself as? You know, I see myself as a conservative, a liberal, happy, fun, boring, overweight, leader, follower. You see yourself as something. First step is to figure out what it is that you see yourself as. Right? When you do something, if you say, I'm going to lose weight. Nah, that's not me. When I had you get up and jog, how many of you were like, I don't do this. This isn't me. Somebody was doing that right now. That's not me. I'm not doing this. Fine. I'm going to look stupid if I don't. But this isn't me. I don't like to get out of my box. And do you think I like to do this? I'm the most introverted person. I don't know if it's the most, but I'm one of the most introverted people in this room. But I know what I want, so I have to be able to change that. I can spend my whole life saying, I don't like to be social and do all this stuff. But it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for what I want to accomplish. So you have to say, okay, but my identity might be I'm always this way, my mother was this way, my dad was this way. Good for them, you're not them. You can be however you want to be. Okay? So you have to decide what your identity is. What do you think it is now? What do you say to yourself over and over again? And then figure out what you want it to be. What do you want your identity to be? It's free. You get to pick it. What do you want your identity to be and make it that? Now you're not going to say, okay, I want to be Superman, and the next day be Superman. But you can say, I want to be Superman, besides the flying and all the other stuff that goes along with it. I want to be Superman, the concept, right? I want to be Superman, and then every day I want to be Superman, I want to be Superman, and then eventually I'm going to be very similar to that guy, right? Because that's just who I see myself as. The next one is, and this one's actually more specific to what I just said there, is language and the meaning of your life. Is this stuff helpful? Hopefully it is. I mean, if you take this, you're not going to get it all tonight. It's not going to like change your world in a moment. Like, I know, a disappointment, I know. But it can change your thought process. Metaphors define yourself as something tangible. So before you see yourself as lazy or strong and hard worker, you know, some people are like, I'm a hard worker. Good, keep it that way. But if we're not succeeding in certain areas, we need to say, okay, maybe I need to be more efficient. More efficient and a hard worker. But this is where I'm like Superman. This is specific. This stuff you can get from TV, you can get from your grandmother, you can grandfather, you can get from your spouse. You can get, you probably don't want to be like your spouse, but whatever it is, right? Your parents. I see myself as that person. I don't want to be that person. I want their qualities. Right? For me, some of you might know him, some of you might not, but Jason Benham, he's a real estate guy over in Concord, and just really solid person. And I've spent enough time with him that I can see, his family, his marriage, all that stuff, I really like that. And I can see myself being like him. His brother, they're twins. I love them, but I don't see myself that way. They're both good, but I see myself like this. You have to identify you. Okay, I can't tell you who that is. You have to figure out who's that person that my childhood dream I always saw myself as. It could be that. Figure that one out. That was big because that's who otherwise you're going to see yourself as. You know, if I've had all these failures, then I'm going to see myself as someone that's like that. That's not who I want to be. So I got to see myself as someone I want to be. With the values I want. Questions. What are you asking? Are you asking the right questions? This one's big too. Is we're either going to ask questions about the problem or the solution. You know, why is so-and-so so like this? Why am I like this? Why can't my family just be better? Why can't they just quit being so annoying? Why can't this? Why can't that, right? But instead, what's one thing I can do right now that will change that situation? My family, that can influence my family. What's one thing I can do right now that will change the way I view my family? What's one thing I can do right now? Why can't I lose weight? I can't do anything. What's one thing I can do right now to move me closer to losing weight? No matter what, no matter how depressed you are, remember that. And I would actually write this down. This is something you want to write down like in front of you, not just on your paper, but like put it in your car. What's one thing I can do to move closer to right now? Because our mind naturally goes to the negative and we need reminders. Actually, for a while, set a timer on this. I don't have a timer, but a timer on my phone. That would at 2 o'clock say, what's one thing I can do? Because it just reminded me, because that's usually when you get kind of more fatigued in the middle of the day. Yep. Right. And I'm going to put it on the alarm, as the alarm clock. That's one thing you need to get out of bed. Okay. And then incantations, we talked about that. What's the track that's playing in your head? Everybody has it. You know what I'm talking about? Like you're walking to the grocery store and it's just constantly going. What's your track? Rewrite it. Figure out what it is and rewrite it. And then consciously say it over and over again. And this is real cool. Mine was for a long time. I'm trying to get exactly, so I changed it, and I didn't do it intentionally. I just created affirmations and I started saying it and I was like singing them in my head throughout the day. And you're going to laugh at me if I share it anyways. Okay, so I love my God, I love others, I'm a happy person, I love people. So there was a long time forgive me, but I wasn't in love with people. I just was like, why can't they figure it out? I was that problem person for a long time. So I said those things over and over again. I was like walking around singing in my head and I was like, this is just silly. But the point is it got into my head and that's what replaced what I had before. Okay? I want to make sure you understand this. So focus, so the 4 pillars. The first one is focus and clarity. The thing that's going to help your focus and clarity more than anything is being in state. When you're in state, people don't ask you silly things. People don't ask you to go do things for them all the time. People don't say negative stuff to you when you're in state because there is a certain essence about you. I read this Facebook post the other day, and the guy was talking about how he went through the grocery store, went through one aisle with the just straight face and looked at everybody and straight in the eye. And everybody kind of looked away and didn't say nothing to him. And then he went through the next aisle with a big smile on his face, didn't say anything, just big smile on his face with a big kind of like, excited. Hey, how are you doing? Happy New Year, all this other stuff. Big difference, right? And it all had to do because it's state. People will do different things around you because of your state. Have you ever been reading a book and getting really excited about maybe at a coffee shop or something and people just start coming and talking to you? Because they can see there's some like positiveness coming out of you and they want it. Okay? That's what happens when you're in state.
So they're dreams and
yep, they're like the drain. They're like, give me some of that. I need some of that. He's happy. I want to be happy. But if you're not happy, then they don't want it. So, but then they're also going to be like, your family will tend to tell you to do things, and then they're still going to do it. So you have to be able to being in state helps you be like, nope, blinders are on. This is what I'm doing. And then, so we're not here yet. So yeah, getting in that state, and that will change everything. You do that through changing your physiology, looking at your belief systems, and then changing your language, what you're saying to yourself and what you're asking yourself. Does that make sense? That's more every morning, right? So every morning you want to read through this, change your physiology. It takes about a minute. to do all this when you get good at it. And then go through your daily incantations, go through your commercial, and then that's how you start your day. And maybe that's how you start your afternoon. I don't know. Pick your time of the day that's best for you. I highly suggest doing it first thing in the morning. Next is, what are your tools? So we talked about the pillars. Number one is focus, and number two is if you don't have the right tools, it's hard to be successful. So meaning the tools come in this form. Surround yourself by the right people, get the right information. For some of you, being in this office, that's the only reason you're here. I don't know. Maybe that is the only reason you're here. Is surround yourself by the right people that are going to feed into you and give you the right information. I don't know. Get the right people and get the right information. So this is what this looks like. I'm going to give you this PowerPoint. I didn't want to print it off, but hopefully we're going to get all your emails. I'm going to email you everybody this PowerPoint, but you also have this. This is your information. This is what you look at every single day. It has to be every day. Tools, mentors. Who is somebody that's done this that I want to follow? Audios. Listen to if you have a smartphone, you should have a junk load audios that are always playing. Quit listening to music all the time in our car. What does that do for us, really? Yeah, every so often, but if that's all what's the point? Well, I go home and turn on TV when you can turn on some sort of inspirational video that's actually going to get you pumped up. And it can be a movie. I'm going to show you a quick clip here at the end from a movie that will get you really pumped up. But we don't need to put on trash when we go home, because guess what? Whatever comes in your mind is what you become. Believe it or not, but it is the truth. Okay? Audio, books that you want to be reading. And don't just read the book and implement it. Read a chapter, soak in that chapter, take the notes on that chapter, try to rewrite the chapter. One of the ways I got really good at nutrition and excited about nutrition is I'd read a chapter, put the book away, and try to rewrite it myself. Because once you teach somebody, you actually own it more. And then inner conflict, speed bumps, and roadblocks. These are big. Your inner conflict is going to be, I want to exercise. I know I need to exercise. I'm going to exercise 3 times a week. I'm going to exercise 3 times a week, but I work 16 hours a day. I have kids at home. When I get home at night, I can't exercise. I got to play with my kids. Who's going to win, exercise or kids? Kids are going to win. So get creative. You know that's going to happen. So make a list of these inner conflicts. You're not going to be able to get them all right down right now, but if they're popping in your head right now, write them down. The inner conflicts that are going to happen, and make a solution in advance. Get creative. Make a strategy. Your strategy is your answer. So, okay, I'm going to go home, and I'm going to tell my kids at the beginning of the week, hey, kids, guess what? You get to exercise with me every Tuesday, every Wednesday, and every Thursday. We're exercising. You're going to come home, and you're going to get the kids up, and you're going to exercise with them. How much more better is that? Probably we'd go home and sit on the couch with them anyways, which isn't really spending time with your kids anyways. So it's not valuable. It's not valuable. It's fine time with your kids. So really getting down there and playing with them and exercising with them. Or what if if you have a toddler? Oh, maybe they aren't ready for that. So put them in the stroller and run around with them. Right? There's always a way. What if I have something I want to read because I'm trying to build a certain mindset, and I want to read a chapter of this every single night, but I don't get home. So this is actually reality for me. I get home about 7:30, 8 o'clock. Tonight I'll get home, about that time. I guess not 7:38. So, yeah, late. Just calling. No, just kidding. So I get home, and what do I want to do? I want to spend some time with my wife. So guess what? We're reading the book together. And so now, not only do I get to learn what's in the book, I get to learn what she thinks about that book, so I get a whole different point of view, and we're actually sharing each other's emotions and everything else about it. So you got to find a solution. There's always a solution. Always a solution. And then the other ones are your speed bumps, which are the things that are actually going to block you or slow you down. And those are the things you got to figure out. If you need to go out and do something, but you always say, it didn't work last time, that's a speed bump. When you say, if you're someone that says, it didn't work last time, figure out what you're going to say to yourself to change that. Or if you're about to go exercise and you're like, I don't feel like exercising, have the person you're going to call that's going to say, look, this is my goal. I need some inspiration right now. Not the person that's going to be like, I don't do it. Call the person there's some people that do that. Like, oh, you don't have to. Why are you doing that to yourself? If that's your spouse, don't call your spouse. I wouldn't even pick your spouse for this. Call somebody else. But the speed bump is the thing that you tell yourself that stops you from doing it most of the time. The roadblock is going to be, I got done from work and the gym's closed. Well, then go exercise at home. Or, what are some things that could literally there's no way I can do it, and try to find different routes around that. Like, then what will I do? Maybe I know I'm not going to get done until this time tonight, so there's just no way I can do this without staying up till 2 in the morning. So then I'm going to have to find some time earlier in the day, or maybe tomorrow I'm doing 4 things. If I'm playing advanced, I'm not going to say I'm going to do 3 today and then not do 3. I'm going to know roadblocks coming, 2, and then tomorrow 4. Does that make sense? And then guardrails. Set boundaries. Don't let yourself get out of them. If you go 2 whole days without, if you're not going to eat sugar and drink sodas, you go 2 whole days eating sugar and sodas, siren goes off. You don't just keep going. Oh, I failed. I didn't make it. I fell off the wagon. Great, get back on. The door's still open, right? So don't keep going. When you hit the guardrail, what happens in your car? You destroy your car, right? Yeah, you balance, but you also destroy your car, and it costs you a lot of money, and it's hard to get back in shape quickly. So have those guardrails, and when you get close to the guardrail, it's a red flag, so you don't hit it. Okay, that's why they're there to save us from falling off the bridge. That's what you want to have in your life too. And then your filtration system is all the negative stuff that's coming in. You have to be able to filter it. You have to be able to say, nope, nope, not going to do it, nope, not going to do it. If there's things like, obviously there's certain things you can't change, but what I want you to do is, for this number one focus, remove the things in your life that take away from your focus on your goal, if possible. Okay, you can't get rid of your kids, and they're always going to affect your focus in some way, shape, or form, but hopefully they're your big why, and then you can find a way to make them a part of all this. And that's what I would highly suggest, because then you're their example, and then they just do it on their own. They never make the bad habits that we made in the first place. And then create a strategy to keep negativity out. Negativity is mostly going to come from you, but it's going to come from other people too. When somebody says something negative to you, I don't care if you say it back to them or not. You probably don't need to get in a fight, but just, no, that's not true. This is what I am, and say it back to yourself or to them. New ideas or goals coming in. This one's big for me, because you all said I like to change. I have so many stinking ideas coming through my head all the time. Filtering is the hardest part for me. So I have to say, no, this is what I decided. I don't care. Those are all great. Those are all cool things. But if I try to do them all, nothing's going to happen. So I have to stick with the one thing. If you're that kind of person, you have to plan in advance for that, because those things are coming in. So you have to plan in advance. Okay. And then the second step is, the things that move us are pain. The things that move us are incentives. You get $100 if you do this. Right? The other thing that moves us is being a part of something bigger. So let's hit the first one, which is, what's the consequence? What happens if you don't? You know, like, think about this. If you don't lose the weight, what happens to your kids? Not just health-wise because of you, but what happens to the way they see you? Or what happens to your grandkids, the way they see that? Or what happens to whatever that is for you? If it's, it might not be weight. It's just this time of year I tend to move towards that. But whatever that is for you, if I don't get my finances under control, how's that going to affect my kids and going to college? How's that going to affect my wife, the way we interact? Because that's the number one cause of divorce, right? Finances. How's that going to affect all these things if I don't do it? And you have to be able to see what's going to happen. It has to be painful enough to want to change. You have to, I mean, the camps we go to where we do this stuff, I mean, they literally have people in tears visualizing what's going to happen if they don't change, but that's enough to start to create a big why. And it might sound bad, but it works, because what is your big why? And we talked about that in the beginning, your needs. Hopefully you remember what your 2 needs were. Create your big why out of those needs. And my big why for finances is my wife. I'm not a love and connection person, but it just kind of works for me. There's other, I guess that's the contribution. That's my contribution. Okay, that's my big why in my personal life. What's your limiting belief? What's holding you back? Right? If you want to lose weight, are you telling yourself that I can't? I've never have in the past. I'm not someone that does that. My family was that way. Everybody in my family was overweight, so that's just how I'm going to be. Well, then that's a limiting belief. That's not a reality. That's the reality you've created for yourself. So write down what your limiting belief is. That's keeping you from reaching, that would keep you or has kept you in the past. This can be something you tried a million times to accomplish. What did that guy say in the beginning? If it was all luck, then I never would have what? Anybody hear that? If it was all luck, then he never would have failed. If he was that lucky, he failed over and over and over. Failure is the key to success. You can't really become anybody without failing. Right? If this is all given to us, then why would we be here, and what's the point? Failure is actually the funnest part of it all. That's where you learn. That's how you grow. That's how you become who you want to be in the first place. So, limiting belief, what's keeping you from being there? If you haven't gotten in the past, who cares? Pick what kept you from getting there and change that limiting belief. Now write your new empowering belief. That would be the opposite of your limiting belief. So instead of I'm just overweight. That's how I've always been. Your new empowering belief would be like, God made me incredible. I have all the tools and everything that I need to lose the weight, and I will lose that weight. And that, I don't like to focus too much on losing weight because it's so arbitrary, but it's something that for some people drives them. So if you're someone that's trying to lose weight and that doesn't drive you, then get healthy, get whatever you want to call it, whatever it is for you. You don't even have to ever get on a scale for the rest of your life for all I care. It's what you're doing and following principles that I want to make sure is happening. And then next is find a partner. Find somebody that's going to do it with you. And you don't want your partner, again, to be that person that's just, gonna quit with you. You want that person is someone that is someone you look up to that you know can lead you through this, and that you have to lead through it too. That there's accountability, meaning there's a guilt if you don't show up. There's a guilt if you don't help them through this process. And it's cool if you have a similar want, but you don't have to. You can have two different things. I wouldn't suggest, and this is just from what I've been told, is I wouldn't suggest picking your spouse all the time. If that's what you got, good, go with it. But just sometimes that can build a little bit of. If you're always telling them, nope, you got to do it, then they don't want to talk to you anymore. That's what I learned. It's true though, is it not true? Tell me I'm wrong. I'm right. That's what happens. If you're always saying, no, you have to. No, you don't want to be that person for them. Let somebody else be that person for them. Let them pick their friend or whatever it else is. If you don't have a partner, let us be your partner. I'm doing this under 40 days too. Tell us, hey, I can't find a partner. You can do it privately if you want to. And we will make sure that you're getting emailed and you're getting called and you're going to be accountable. And you have somewhere to call and email. And then the next one is just do it again and again and again and again and again and again until you can't think anymore, and then just do it again. Because that's how mastery is accomplished. And, right? When I said earlier, call somebody that's going to motivate you, maybe you don't have that. Maybe they're not available. Maybe they didn't answer. So they didn't answer, you don't work out. No, have that motivation you put in your ears. Have the motivation you watch on if you have a phone that does that. Have the motivation you put on the computer. Find out how to get it. Go to the library and rent a DVD. Everybody has a way to get it. But have that motivation that's going to constantly, whenever you're about to quit, like that's going to tell you he didn't do it on his own. It's not that he's some sort of a supernatural character, because he would have quit if he didn't have a blindfold on, because he already made it 50 yards. So you have to have that blindfold, full clarity on what you want, and have somebody or something yelling in your ear telling you not to quit. And I'll be that somebody, but I'm not there all the time. Our team will be that somebody, but we're not there all the time either. It has to be you that finds what it is that's going to be for you. I want to help you through that process, and I want this to be something that it's not just come to this thing, learn some really cool information, because you could have gotten some of this online, not all of it, most of it. You could have gotten online, you could have watched a video online, but I want to walk you through it. So it just came to me yesterday at church, 40-day Max Mind Challenge. This wasn't a planned thing. It came to me yesterday, 40-day Max Mind Challenge. It's not a eating program. We're going to have an eating plan in there. Yeah, we're going to follow a certain, because what is biochemistry? What you eat. It affects it. We're going to have exercising. It's not going to be ridiculous. It's 3 times a week minimum, because what is biochemistry? What is movement? It's all about your state. You can't be in state if you're not doing any of these things. Right? But through that process, we're going to go 40 days. Every day, I'm doing a 5-minute audio that I'm going to send you guys. Through that process, you're going to have the ability to email me anytime you want. Email any of us anytime you want. You're going to pick a partner. I want you to pick someone, and think about this now. Think about who the one person is that you're going to do that. And I just put some concepts that's going to happen. We're going to keep you focused, keep you inspired and motivated daily. You're going to have a coach and a team on your side the whole way. You'll have accountability. You have a way of measuring. And so when we think about this, what does this cost to have coaching? What does a coach cost? I'm not saying I'm a $1 million coach. I'm going to learn through this process too. But what does it cost to have someone, and most of them aren't any good anyways, but they right? But just paying them makes you get results because it's somebody there. You're paying somebody to be there. Well, that's free. So do not say, I'm not doing this, because it's for you and it will change your life if you go 40 days, right? And I don't know if there's a correlation to this, but this is why I did it. Jesus went 40 days and his mind was changed. Right? We're transformed by the renewing of our mind. And he went to the wilderness for a reason. We want to go into the wilderness for a reason, because we want to come out a completely different human being. During that time, you might have a day that you didn't do so well. I don't care. You're still in the wilderness. You still got to get out. Okay? That's going to be the concept through there. Final thing here is how committed are you? And take this stuff home and don't sit on your treadmill that's never been used. Anybody have a treadmill that's piled up with stuff? Because no one? She's got one. Mary's got one. All right, cool. So don't do that. Take this thing home and literally tomorrow, or if you have a little time this evening, reread your notes and start to figure out how you're actually going to implement this, because listening to all this, you can't figure it out right here. You have to take it home and figure out how you're going to implement. Spend the next week, pick the times that you're going to do this so that when you come on Monday, you're ready to go strong and you're going to get 40 days of just awesomeness. Okay? All right. Thank you, guys.